So we call it Aradhana Day. Aradhana means you worship God or you worship your Guru, Aradhana. That's what it means. So we worship Ramana all the time, not on Aradhana Day. It is not like a Mother's or Father's Day we do only on that day. Mother and Father you worship all the time. But yes, you do it on a special day in a special way. So today we have some more lights and more decoration, I believe, in a sense to remember and to get absorbed in his teachings. And his most important teaching is, before he was leaving, he said, I can't go anywhere, I am here. Here he was not referring to the place in Tirunamalai in that room. Here means in our heart. That energy is in heart of everyone. That is the pure self. This journey looks very short, from head to heart, from mind to hridayam, to the center, the core self. But can you believe this journey can take millions of years? And sometimes it stays as an unfinished journey. It's with us, but we might never realize it, not even think about it. Leave aside abiding in self. So this journey from head to heart, from mind to hridayam, happens by two factors. One is our own longing, our own interest. And we put all our efforts, whatever method a guru, a teacher, a scripture has told us, whatever comes to us naturally, we practice that. We try our best. And then the grace pulls us in, grace of self. I would say all this longing and efforts also comes from the grace only. Everything is grace. But ego cannot understand initially. It thinks that I have this knowledge, I have this intellectual knowledge, I have gained some experiences, and then it tries hard. And when it tries, then it starts understanding the meaning of surrender, Sharanagati. And this surrender happens. You don't try to surrender. So many people say in Satsang that I want to surrender. It just happens. You start living in that self. And transformation happens so slowly, sometimes you also don't know how you change so much. People around you realize this. The way you used to behave in the ego mode, and how calm and composed you are, how less you use mind, how much you leave everything to destiny. Whatever happens, you surrender. And you accept everything as it is. This pure energy is in all of us. It comes out only when we have interest in it. Otherwise, it stays closed forever in a way. You keep getting birth after birth, and you don't realize, and it has no problem with your unrealization also. But when you are interested, when we get a guru like Ramana, and then we also get blessings of father of Ramana or father of all of us, that absolute Arunachala, then it is like a double engine. There is Ramana, who came in a form, who spoke, in front of whom we sat in silence. He gave us all that pure energy, and his blessings and grace is many, many fold now in this time when he left his body in 1950. His presence is more felt. If you go to Ramana Ashram now, there are more devotees. It has become exponential in recent times. And good thing about Bhagavan's devotees and all the centers all over the world, it's not that they are in any way organized. It's all organic. This energy sprouts in someone's heart and he starts. We are all in the same boat. We are all in that same pure energy. Bhagavan's blessings are to all of us, whoever comes, irrespective caste, creed, religion, nationality, where you live, whether you have been to India or ashram or not, doesn't matter. And the teachings are very secular. It's not about any religious concept. Actually, it is beyond all concepts. Abiding in that pure self, which has no name, no form. It is eternal. And it is not also involved in whatever activities we are doing, though it gives that pure energy to it, to everything. Right now we are doing satsang. It is happening because of grace of that pure energy. Brahman. It is everywhere. It is in our heart and it is everywhere. In mysterious way, it takes over everything, all our life. Then my life becomes just life. No mine, no mine, no I. Biggest difference what a devotee or a student or a seeker feels is that there is so much of peace. That unsettled mind almost disappears. Hope everyone feels that pure energy, pure divine energy. Om Namo Bhagavate Shri Arunachal Ramanaya Om. Om Shanti Shanti.
Om Namo Bhagavate Shri Ramanaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Shri Ramanaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Shri Ramanaya. There is no another. There is only one. So when there is only one, how can there be a place where for Ramana to be, or for us to be, or for anyone to be? There is only one. See, the Paramatma is like a white sheet, a piece of white sheet. And we have all drawn boundaries, squares, stars, black, white, yellow, boundaries. And these boundaries are giving us the impressions that we are individuals. You take the boundary away, you take the color away, we are all part of the white sheet. That's what we are. So we are under this illusion or maya that we are separate. So a jnani like Ramana Maharshi had transcended the boundary. But when we look at Ramana Maharshi, we see him with a boundary. But he didn't see a boundary. He just saw everything as the same. So for him to say, where can I go? Because he is part of the big entity. The entirety is we are all. So he doesn't see individuals as separate. He only saw one thing, and that's everything. So there is no two. That's why the philosophy that he spoke, that we follow, is called Advaita. The Advaita philosophy means there is no two. There is no two, because in our minds we always think in terms of my body, my mind, and I am in the body. Or sometimes we say the Atma is in me. That's a very wrong concept. The Atma cannot be in me. The body is carried by me, because the body comes and goes, the Atma remains. It is part of the wider scape of that whiteness, of that pureness. There is only one. So Bhagavan never went. He always was. And he always is. So we need to get our minds around that concept of being separate, and Bhagavan is different, I am different, so and so is different. It's all just one scape of being. So that's what we are. But we are caught in this mind-body complexity. So we see ourselves as individuals. Sanjay ji was saying this journey from the head to the heart. There is no head, there is no heart, there is only is. Right? So we are thinking that we are taking a journey, but there is no journey. We already are. The process is to be what we are, what we all are. And this problem is centered in the mind. So theoretically, we know a lot of things. We know that we are not the mind, we are not the body, we have to transcend this, we have to transcend that. But when it comes to actually being, we get caught up in that process. Palai pona manadai vaittu kondenna seiven Swami. Palai pona manadai vaittu kondenna seiven Swami. வெறும் கற்பனையில் தினம் மிச்சை வெறுப்புகள் ஏன் வந்தாடுது சுவாமி, தினம் ஏன் வந்தாடுது சுவாமி. பாழாய் போன மனதை வைத்து கொண்டென்ன செய்வேன் சுவாமி. Basically, this is a pleading song to Ramana, asking, what do I do with this cursed mind? And daily, I'm going through these likes and dislikes, wants and aversions. Why is all of this appearing to me constantly? I know that you have said there is no mind, and if you actually start looking for it, you will never find the point where the mind rises. So mind doesn't exist. I understand that. And I have been running behind this mind all the time, and I have become so tired. And the thoughts keep rising again and again like the waves in an ocean. Yet, I know all of this, but I'm still caught up in this illusion, and I'm unable to come out of it. Why is it so? I am surrendering myself at your feet. I am coming to you as the refuge, and I am repeating your name. And because of that, I'm rising up. And then Ramana Saranam, Ramana Saranam, Ramana Saranam. Saranam is, I'm surrendering myself to you. Bhagavan says there are 4 margas to achieve the ultimate. The Bhakti Marga, the Karma Marga, the Yoga Marga, and the Jnana Marga. This Jnana Marga is the easiest. Ayye Adisulabham. Ayye Adisulabham means it's the most easiest. All you have to do is find out who you are, and then it's very easily done. But our problem is trying to figure out that bit, right? And of course, Atma Vichara, he says. And then we have the Bhakti Marga. Bhagavan says, if that is too difficult, go for Bhakti Marga. Bhakti Marga is basically surrendering yourself. But what do we usually surrender? We surrender our problems. Everything else we keep to ourselves. We only go and surrender our problems to Bhagavan, surrender our problems to God, and then everything else I did, only my problems have been surrendered to God. And that's not enough. You have to go into complete surrender. That means I am not making another effort to do anything because Bhagavan is looking after me. God is looking after me. So there is no real need for me to worry about what's going to happen to me next. But we don't go into that mode, do we? So that until we get into that surrender, complete surrender, which will eventually lead to the Jnana Marga, which is the easiest. Karma Marga is also the same. Whatever we do, we have to completely surrender the outcome to God. I always say, like a hammer. The hammer never thinks, I struck the nail and the nail went straight, or nail went crooked, or the nail didn't go at all. The hammer never thinks that. The hammer only has to behave in the most appropriate manner and be the best tool. The one who is striking gets all the results, whether the nail went in or not, whether the nail was bent or not. All the results belongs to the one who struck the hammer. We just have to be the hammer. We don't try to claim ownership to the position of the nail. So that is Karma Marga. And then of course Raja Marga, the Yoga Marga, which is the Ashtanga Yoga, the 8 steps towards Samadhi, which leads you to eventual bliss, state of bliss. But of course Jnana Marga through self-inquiry, Atma Vichara. It's by inquiring myself as to who I am, what my true nature is. And for that, we have to stop dropping what I am not. Because you will never find what is. You can only say, I am dropping. I am not this, I am not this, I am not this. Neti, 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 neti. So these are the 4 margas. Bhagavan has spoken of all of this, but he says the easiest is to drop. Say, you are not this, you are not this, you are not this, you are not this. You are the pure bliss. You are the bliss. You are the grace. So this is what Bhagavan has said. Thank you very much for the opportunity to share a few words.
So what Jayarajan ji was saying, this is so true. When we surrender, we only surrender our problems. And I need to point out about Bhagavan's ailments, He, from very young age, he had rheumatism. So rheumatism affected his whole body. He couldn't walk and there was pain, stiffness. And later he developed sarcoma across the left arm, which was treated and surgically excised a few times, but it came back again and again. So many people came to Bhagavan, his devotees, and they were also very saddened, and they wanted something to be done by Bhagavan himself to get rid of the problem. And they used to say to Bhagavan that, why don't you think about it, and why don't you have a sankalp to get rid of it? Bhagavan said, for that I need a mind, I need an ego, I need an I thought. I don't have. You can go to someone and you give up your problems. Whom should I go to? Whom should I tell? And then there was this lady, a royal lady, Mrs. Talyar Khan. Once she said to Bhagavan, Bhagavan, you give your problem, your disease to me. I will bear it. Please give it to me. And you know what was Bhagavan's reply? Whom do you think I've got it from? Some people can say this thing, you can't take someone's karma, but that source which is there, you come to that source and you grieve for your problems. Whether it accepts or not, it is acceptance, because it is like a ocean of compassion. And there are incidences during Bhagavan's time that someone had an issue, some problem, and then he came to Bhagavan, look, this is happening, I am having this diarrhea or something. And that problem disappeared, and then the Bhagavan had it next day. This man came with a very severe pain in the index finger, and he was contemplating in his mind about the pain. And at the same time, he realized that Bhagavan was rubbing his same finger, and as he rubbed, and that pain completely disappeared. So all these mysterious things which happens to a jnani, whether disease. For jnani takes away all the poison like Shiva. Shiva took all the poison of the word, so, and he is called Nilkant. So the word is not into suffering. So these things we should understand, when we go to any Jnani or any Guru, that we should not give up our sufferings to him. We should try to have blessings for that Jnana. And we should bear our own karma, as by prarabdha karma it has to come to us, rather than surrendering our suffering to the Jnani. As we also know the story of Jesus, Jesus took all people suffering on him. So I believe we should bear our own karma on us, but try to be looking into who is this who is going through suffering, or whose karmas are this. And again, coming to the same thing, self-inquiry. Who am I? And coming to satsang, coming into the holy company of seekers, Shravan Manan Nididhyasana, remembering it, listening to it, and contemplating on the truth again and again and again. This is what Gyan Marga is. It helps everyone. But there should be patience and perseverance. It's not like you do it half an hour every day and rest of the time you do all sorts of nonsense in life, then it doesn't work. You have to stay in that pure energy all the time.
Atma Rama Mahabhaga, Atma Rama Mahabhaga, Purushottama Ramaneshwara, Purushottama Ramaneshwara.
Shri Gurubhyo Namah. All that I've been hearing is resonating. So my question was, after what I heard and what we all contemplate, do we want freedom of I, or do we want freedom from I? That's the question. So what are we searching for? Are we searching for freedom? We know we are searching for freedom. We all know that. We want realization. But this I is a problem, isn't it, for us? So Vedanta says we want freedom from I. No more I left. And that is where our Maharaj is established. Now question is, has ever the consciousness left us? Has ever the truth left us, that we have to search for it? It has never left us. Has the water ever left a wave? Has the gold ever left the ornament? It is already that. You are also already that. Simple, story over. If all your experience about a wave is that of a water, then why are you calling it a wave? Because our attention is on the name and form. In Panchadashi, this example comes 3 places. It's called Gaunatma, Mithyatma and Mukhyatma. Gaunatma is a virtual reality, virtual Atma. What is virtual Atma? The father, the mother, the daughter, the sister, the aunt. These are virtual. Who is the real compared to them? this man or this woman is real, isn't it? All those are virtual. But when we come from there, we wean ourselves out. Okay, all these are just imaginary roles that I'm playing. I come to being the man or the woman. Now, this being a man or woman is called as mithyatma. Mithyatma, illusory self. So that was virtual self. This is illusory self. And who I am? Mukhyatma, the actual self, the absolute self. I've asked this question before. Can we realize the consciousness that we are right here and now? Because we know every wave is pervaded by water. Without water, it has got no existence. So if you are the wave in this infinite consciousness, you are also pure consciousness at any given moment. So right now, we are not talking about after the class or before, any other time. Right now, catch yourself as you are listening, between the thoughts, between the words that are hitting your eardrum. This silence, this is conscious silence. This is you. At this moment, what was going on in your mind? Your eyes are seeing everything, your body is there, but your mind is silent. So stop the search. Be. Be. How much time you have to take? If, suppose your husband comes in front of you, the wife comes out of you, right? Do you have to plan? Now he's going to come and I have to plan. How should I behave? How should I act? What am I going to say? What am I not going to say? Boop, a pop-up cuts out. What is that pop-up? Wife. And at very next moment, your child comes in front of you. Do you have to undo the wife for the mother to come out of you? Or it happens instantaneously? If you think that we have to give up something, I is still very strong. Catch the natural coming and going of everything and find that you are the unchanging principle in that. You know there is a wall behind you, you know there is a AC going on, you know there is a light going on, you know there are other people. Is any of these stimuli disturbing your mind right now? Even though everything is there, nothing is disturbing you, isn't it? Because you are focused, because you are available, because you are silent in your mind. Exactly the same way. We have to come to a point, a poise within that we can do because we are so addicted to doing. Do prana bandhanan lina manasam. Catch the beginning of the breath or the conclusion of the breath and your mind will stop like that. In a jiffy, it will stop. And then what do? You watch. you are there. It's your direct experience. And nobody can take it away from you. Anywhere, anytime. And that is the place where our Ramana Maharshi was ever established. Why only him? Every master is established in that. You can also be, not posthumously, while living. The human birth is only for one purpose, not for producing kids, not for making money. Only for one purpose, to recognize that you are the infinite being. And that can be done. You have all read it. It can be done. The reality is only here and now. Then why do you postpone it? Accept that you are that. So don't waste life. Be it. With those words, I conclude. Thank you. Hari Om.
When we were born and we are brought up, we always grow with dichotomy of everything. Like We live in Dvaita. Suppose my mother took me to a temple. Say, that is God. Pray. As soon as you know that, the God is outside. So many things. Oh, see that. See waves, all that, how beautiful it is. So it is something external. So we have been groomed all along, unseasoned, to look outside. We not even one ever even asked a question. Going inside, who is doing all this? Who is seeing all this? Who is speaking all this? Life goes on like that, and then we get indulged, drag on to many of the attractions and desires naturally. At that time, there are two things. One is, actually we are involving everything without really yourself, the real self, involving all that. And moreover, everything you relate to, unless you have a name and form, you can't conceive anything. That's how we grow. Okay? But what happens is, a stage in your life comes where you go through a lot of sufferings. Suddenly something hits you, say a sickness, or somebody close to you has passed away. You feel sad. So, immediately you begin to ask the question, why me? All this happening. I was all along enjoying everything, relishing everything. Suddenly, I'm feeling sad. Why it's happening to me? First time. You are using why me. By the grace of the master. Okay? The grace of the master. I'll tell you where the master is. Okay? Grace of the master, suddenly, you realize, I'm telling here my experience. Okay, it's all fine. I had a very bad dream. Okay, all day I worked hard, even without thinking, always about worldly things, either good or bad, all that. But I also slept very well one night. And then, you think to yourself that, I had a very fantastic sleep. How peaceful it was. That's all. It's gone. You never catch it there. Once you realize I have to catch it there, then a paradigm shift happens to you. This is my experience. I always thought everything is external. Okay? Nothing is. So something has to come and change you, or give you peace, or to go to heaven or hell, all those concepts. Everything is this or that, good or bad, sour or sweet. Everything is Dvaita. Your Anubhava is only the Dvaita till the master. To me, Ramana came and hit me, telling that, what are you looking for outside? You are already there. There is nothing to look for. Okay, I have come across one small phrase in Taittiriya Upanishad. Yo veda nihitam guhayam parame vyoman. Okay, know. Veda is nothing but to with. It comes from to know that something is really in your inside, in the heart cave. One of my friend actually took me to Thiruvannamalai. I didn't deliberately go. I was whiling away my time in Chennai. One weekend, one of my friend, I'm going to Thiruvannamalai. What are you doing? Come. And I used to be a very ritualistic person. In the morning, I have to do some ritual. Before food, after food, and then before I go to bed, all that. In the evening, at dusk time, all that. Lot of, karmas I have to do. That was because of my upbringing, basically. And if I miss it one time, I feel really bad I'm mentally disturbed that I have deceived somebody, the God or whatever, my elders. But when all these things are going on, those 3 days I was in the ashram. In the ashram, I was going with this, I was staying in a room. There is no way I can do all this. I totally forgot about all that. Those 3 days I did, and at the end of it, my experience is I never felt guilty. Okay, and then I thought, what's happening to me suddenly? Am I a changed person? Why didn't I feel? I felt very calm, all that. So I began to doubt myself, what something is going on. I don't understand. So after 1 year, I went there without telling everyone. Luckily, they gave me accommodation for 10 days. I stayed at the ashram. At that time, it was during Deepam time. It was really pouring hell. Even though my room was close to the mess hall, you couldn't even get out. So all the time I was sitting there. All that I can do is sleep. Okay, if I get some food, I go eat. Otherwise, I sleep, or I have no choice but to read. Okay, I have read 2 works at that time. One is actually Bhagavan's Vasanamritam. You know the talks? When Bhagavan was answering questions to all the devotees, one Mr. Munagala Venkatramaya, he composed all them, published as a book. So there were a lot of question and answers. At the time when I was reading all that, many things are getting sorted out in my mind. Many open questions I had. Later, I read the book Who Am I? Bhagavan's. Again, that's a sort of answer and question only. When I wrote, everything became very clear. And then after that, I can't be bothered about anything. Okay? But having said that, once you move out of the ashram, come, I have to attend so many other problems. But I don't really care about them. It just happens. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. So I don't care about it. I go now every year to the ashram, simply for one thing. It's like recharging the batteries. Once found something is at your grasp, okay, so hold on to it. So I am, at the moment, if you ask me, I am free. You asked freedom from who? Freedom of? Freedom to? No such complications. I am free. Okay? Okay, if anything is going to happen to me, it's only going to happen to this body. So another thing, I would sort of share one thing. Mainly when we are sort of interacting with others, including in this satsang. Okay, the one thing, don't react. That's my anubhava. Once you don't react, you feel very peaceful. It's as good as being silent. Okay, so this is my anubhava. In my life path, I am at this stage, at this point in time, here. Okay, in my world, time and space exist. I am not yet surpassed them. Okay, but there is lot of improvements, lot of things have happened that has changed the way I live, how I interact with even my own family. I am not the same. I realize I am not the same person anymore. Okay, so this is what I wanted to share. Thank you. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Arunachala Ramanaya.
ओम नमो भगवते श्री अरुणाचल रमणाय। ओम नमो भगवते श्री अरुणाचल रमणाय। ओम नमो भगवते श्री अरुणाचल रमणाय। Dear seekers in the divine, dear seekers, devotees and aspirants on the spiritual path, devotees and aspirants who are with Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi in the heart. Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi's Aradhana day, Mahanirvana day, Mahasamadhi day is the day when the body, as it were, of that reflected aspect of consciousness performing the duties in this changing manifestation had presented itself to us as in the form of Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi. And on that day of 14th April 1950, that body which was known as Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi merged back from the reflected consciousness into this earth. But there was no change, because Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi was never the body, never the mind of that body. Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi was the changeless, ever present, absolute consciousness, pure awareness. And the teachings of Ramana Maharshi have always expounded to the devotees through silence and out of pure compassion through words. Because the main teachings were always expounded by Ramana Maharshi through silence. Silence was the main mode through which the transmission of teachings would take place in practicality, as when the devotee, the aspirant, the seeker would sit in front of Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi with a lot of questions, wanting to request Bhagavan to resolve their queries, questions. The questioner would not remain. That was the immense power of that silence. Through that changeless aspect of that Parabrahma Tattva, absolute consciousness, that would dissolve the questioner itself. That aspect was seen and experienced by many a devotee and many an aspirant. But Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi also expounded teachings to other devotees who came and requested them, who were not able to absorb that silence and they had queries. He would answer them out of pure compassion. There is an instance where a devotee called Papaji had asked Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi about this, because when Ramana Maharshi asked Papaji about him being able to see Krishna, many a time Papaji would see Krishna, play with Krishna, Lord Krishna, because he was a great devotee of Lord Krishna. And Ramana Maharshi would ask him, do you actually see Krishna now? So he said, no, not now, but some time ago, he came to me and we had a conversation. So Ramana Maharshi, Bhagavan said to Papaji, what is the use of this Krishna who comes and goes? The true Krishna is that which is ever present, who's always there. He is changeless, ever existent, never changing. In that moment, Papaji's mind completely dissolved. That was the magnanimity, that was the intensity of Bhagavan's teachings. And through that gaze from the eye of infinity, speaking to this devotee who was sitting before him, the entire created world of forms dissolved, the mind dissolved, thoughts dissolved, disappeared. This is the greatness of that compassion that was shown towards devotees by Bhagavan. So, Ramana Maharshi's teachings were both for the bhakti part of devotees as well as the Jnana Marga devotees. The path of inquiry as well as the path of devotion. On the path of devotion, the teachings were the devotion has to be so intense. The love for that Aradhya Devata, your Ishta Devata, the God that you love should be so great that God can be any form of God. But it should be the God that you love. And because the mind can get closer to that form only if there is love. And then when that devotion and that love is so great, he said that mind has to be completely offered at the feet of that form of God that you adore and love. When that happens, and when that happens completely, the mind dissolves. There is no more mind. The devotee has to say, not me, my Lord, but thine will be done. All is yours. Whatever happens is your doing, not mine. And in that offering itself, the mind dissolves. And that mind, when it dissolves and the offering happens completely, revelation of truth happens because there is only pure silence in that. The other method of Bhagavan's teachings were through the inquiry method. Questioning, who am I? Who is this questioner who's questioning and has all these various questions about the truth or who I am? Because that is what we are referring to all the time. I am this, I am that. And a host of personalities are created. I am a father, I am a mother, I am a daughter, I am a son, I am a etc., etc., etc. I am a teacher, I am a engineer, I am a doctor, I am etc. So all these personalities are added on to the I am. But the root is the I. So I am this, that, this, that, this, that are all subsidiary to the I am, which is the I is the root cause. What is that I? Who is that I? Where from does this I arise? And then when that quest happens in earnestness, with truly wanting to find out where from does this arise, the mind goes inwards, submerges inside, goes deeper and deeper into the very root, whereupon the mind itself completely and totally dissolves into that absolute pure self, because then there is no mind. The mind has dissolved unto itself, into that pure self. When that happens, there is only silence. Eternal silence. And that revelation is complete and total abidance in self, as self. That was what Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, the body, was doing for 40 years after that revelation, and abiding as self. There was no other, only self. No this, no that. No guru, no devotee. Pure truth prevailed. Absolute silence was ever present in pure consciousness. The changeless aspect, the changeless, which is the only truth. The manifested aspect of that changeless in as the changing form of Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi continued until the time when on the 14th of April 1950 the body dropped away. But that changeless aspect never changed. That is why Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi said, when people ask, when devotees asked, why are you leaving this body? He said, where can I go? Where can I go? I'm going nowhere because I'm ever present. I'm ever there, ever present, eternal. That is the truth. And that is the truth for all manifested aspects in the changing world of names and forms. The seeker has to strive, and in that striving is revealed the truth. And one is ever abiding as self. When that dropping away of the I happens, when the dropping away of that illusory I happens, the seeing happens through the eye of eternity, because it is then revealed as changeless, and the changeless only functions through the manifested form in the changing world of appearances. Whether it be this body or that body, functioning happens. And that is what was happening for Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi. Functioning was happening through that body. But ever immersed, ever abiding, ever absorbed in self, as self. On this occasion, where this Aradhana day is we are gathering is there today. Let us all remember that there is no birth, no death. This body comes, body goes. But one is that eternal, ever-existing reality. Let us strive to find who this I is. That is the way. Dive deep within and revelation will happen that I am that ever-existing, ever-real reality. Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnaat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shantish Shantish Shantihi. Om.
मनोभूति अहंकार चित्तानि नाहं न च श्रोत्र जिह्वे न चक्रान नेत्रे न च व्योम भूमे न तेजो न वायु चिदानंद रूपा शिवोहम शिवोहम चिदानंद रूपा शिवोहम शिवोहम चिदानंद रूपा शिवोहम शिवोहम न च प्राण संख्यो न वै पंचवायु न वा सप्त धातुर्न वा पंचकोशा न वाक्पानिपादं न चोपास्तपायु चिदानंद रूपा शिवोहम शिवोहम चिदानंद रूपा शिवोहम शिवोहम चिदानंद रूपा शिवोहम शिवोहम.
Thanks for everyone to join us, virtual and face to face. So good to see everyone and so good to see people's interest in that Shivoham, the Chidanand. Interest is all, everything. When we are interested, we get it. I remember once one of the doctors, when I was training, said to me, he asked something and I couldn't find. Then he said, "Arey khojo to Bhagavan bhi milte hain." Then I really contemplated. To make you understand, in Hindi it means that when you try to find, even you can find God, how can you not find what I have asked you to find? Then that became my Mahavakya. Because I was interested in spirituality and someone is saying casually, that means it must be some value of that saying is, that if you want to even go, you can find God. How can you can't find something which I've asked you to find? And this is very, very true. It is not that the devotee or a seeker or a student always stays and dies as a student or a seeker. Then it is useless. This all teaching and all these paths of yogas are just useless if it's only just a philosophical teaching and it does not make you that divine. Then these are useless methods, Then they are just to talk. But they are not just to talk. Talk takes you there actually. This is the thing. This Gyan Marga is a talk. You listen to someone, you keep repeating, you keep contemplating, and the truth is because we are so hypnotized in this word, what the mind is saying, what our conditioning is saying to us, we don't come to that source, and contemplating on truth makes us that truth. This is the beauty of listening to this pure truth. So thank you everyone to come and join us in this beautiful Satsang of Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi's Aradhana day. Thank you. Om Namo Bhagavate Shri Arunachal Ramanaya. Om Shanti Shanti.